Okay, welcome. Okay. Excellent. And there we are. Welcome. Good morning. Those who are joining. Hello, Kristen. Welcome back. We're in day 15. I'm going to pull up the info on. There we go. We are live once again for day 15. Today we're talking about seeding the garden of one. So welcome all those here live, those who are watching the replay. It is a beautiful sunny morning here in the Pacific Northwest. Cold, but beautiful and sunny, and the light streaming in my office is just glorious. Carol, isn't it lovely here this morning? Woke up to lots of frost on the car. My husband had to go out and chip ice off the windshield going to work. It's cold. And I was out walking around last night. It was such a cold, clear night under bright, bright stars. It was so lovely. And man, I love this time of year. I'm okay with the cold. And I like retreat. I'm a solitary creature, so I like retreat. I like the fall and the winter. I like taking breaks from it and going to San Diego and getting warm and getting my toes in the ocean, but yeah. So welcome back. And so I wanted to start and kind of preface today's talk with talking a little bit about why I do the work that I do and, you know, who my work is really for. And I think I can best talk about that with something that happened just a couple days ago. You know, why this work is so unique in Leading Edge Creator and why it's really kind of a one-of-a-kind type of experience. And for, you know, those who resonate with a lot of the energy that I bring this information to you with, you know, there's a kind of maverick energy around it. There's, you know, a little bit of the rebel, a little bit of the maverick. I'm part both of those things, part philosopher, part metaphysician, part, you know, spiritual novice in a lot of ways. The more you learn, the less you know. I definitely adopt that as a teacher, you know, part mentor, part teacher, part speaker, part channel, part intuitive listener, and, you know, all those things. And I wouldn't be able to do those things to the depth and in the depth that I'm able to kind of marinate in these energies if I have ever at any point in my life taken the road well traveled. I never have. Never set foot on the road well traveled. I'm an oddball in my family. I'm the weirdo in the family, and to a lot of friends too, except the ones who really, really know me. I've always set foot on my own path, and I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. And I think that allows me to inhabit some unique qualities. And being able to look at maybe things, not the way the masses look at things, but the way the people who also decide to take the road less traveled look at life. We look at life differently. We see things differently. We see ourselves differently. We see the world differently. We see potentials and possibilities in different ways. Even when we're trying to talk ourselves out of it, we still see them. We're still aware of things existing differently. We see more sides or facades to things than maybe the mass of people on the planet do. And so I was having this experience the other day of watching one of my favorite comedians of all time, and writers and directors and actors, Albert Brooks. For those of you who don't know who Albert Brooks is, if you want one of the best showcases of his talents, rent the movie Defending Your Life. I think you can get it on Netflix. If you've never seen that movie, please do watch it. And from a metaphysical perspective, it's probably one of the best and most accurate depictions of what it's like to leave this life and go into the great beyond. Defending Your Life. I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's a fantastic movie and very funny and beautiful and a great story and well written, well acted by both Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep. Can't say enough about it. But I was watching a documentary about him, produced by his longtime friend Rob Reiner, the guy who directed Princess Bride and Stand By Me and a lot of other great When Harry Met Sally, another favorite movie of mine. They've been best friends since they were like in high school. And so he directed this documentary, Defending My Life. And it's him talking with Albert Brooks about his life, his comedy, his works. And he said something in there that really, really hit me square in the feels. And he said that Albert Brooks was talking about having a conversation with a friend and colleague, I think it was, or it might have been his therapist. The therapist or the friend remarked that, why do you always take the hard path? Why do you always take the hard road? And Albert Brooks said to him in response, "Oh, you think I see two roads." I don't. I only see the one road. That's all I see, and that's the road that I take. And I felt so seen. I felt so exonerated. I felt so liberated having him say that. And I know I'm not the only one on the planet like me. I know I'm not, because the women who truly gravitate to me and gravitate to my work, share a lot of the same sentiments. See the world in all of its, crazy chaotic energy, but there's a lot of nuances there. There's a lot of duplicities. There's a lot of complexity. It's more than meets the mind's eye. And the curiosity about what is behind that facade, what is underneath that surface. It makes us want to go through life testing things out or trying things out differently, taking different roads. And it's almost like a challenge. We're throwing down the gauntlet sometimes when someone else says, "Oh, you can't do that. No one else does that." And it's like, "Here, hold my beer. Watch me do it." There's a kind of not only do I want to see it for myself, but I also want to be someone who is going out on a limb and will kind of, undergo certain challenges or tasks or tests or trials and errors in order to come back to a place where I can say, "See, not only did I do that, but here's what I learned, and let me tell you about it." And not only is that who I am at my core, but it's also what makes me a great teacher. It's also what makes me a great mentor, I think. Yeah, I'm going to toot my own horn here for a second. But it's the fact that I'm not afraid of trial and error. It's the fact that I'm not afraid to test things out, to go to the other side, to go where others fear to tread, and see what's in there, see what's going on, go into the cave, and come back and be able to have knowledge to impart, and with hard-won wisdom or insight. And so when I talk about leading edge creator, I'm very much talking about this same thing that, I went through almost 2 years, because I'm still kind of coming out of the cave a little bit. And I'm, teaching this stuff to you and giving you this information and knowledge from the wisdom of my own trial, from the wisdom of my own, rigorous period of going through this kind of spiritual rock bottom and place of pretty profound and ugly darkness. But I learned a lot of things, and I'm not afraid to, I don't want to gatekeep it. I'm not afraid to share it. I'm not afraid to think about, not only how it affected me, but For those of you who also look at your life in a way where you feel like the rebel, the maverick, maybe the outlier, the outcast, even the black sheep, the legacy breaker, the one who dares to dream and do life differently. You are my people. You are my people. And I think that in the best way possible, it is these big hearted, kind of oddballs. And I say that with pure love in my heart, who are really drawn to the work that I do, because I'm going to talk about things differently. I'm going to share things differently, and it's not going to come in a pretty package. It's not going to come from a, well thought out, color schemed branding pretty package with a bow on top, with me in my finest gear and heels and a Chanel handbag. And not that I'm shitting on any of that. I'm not throwing shade at anybody who does that, but that's not me. It has never been me, and it will never be me. And no matter what kind of success, quote unquote, I reach, I'm still going to be me. True to my core, wearing flannel and a brewery sweatshirt and, jeans that have my dog's footprints on them from jumping on me and being out in the mountains and walking in a rainy Pacific Northwest forest. And that's just going to be me. And so what you're getting here, what I'm sharing with you over these 21 days, is not only me, but you're getting powerful insight, you're getting powerful wisdom that came through a hard-won level of achieving that knowledge and wisdom. And it comes to you basically by this premise that I hold very near and dear to my heart of seeding the garden of one, living in this place of overflow, living in this place of more than enough, and feeling like if I'm in a place of overflow and more than enough, then I have more than enough to give. I have more than enough to share. I have more than enough knowledge to impart. There's no need for me to gatekeep or restrict anyone from access who really, really wants it. Now, the difference between receiving this information for free and taking this information to a deeper level and going deeper, that requires a deeper commitment on your part, because you're going to have to show up in a way that you've never shown up before. If you are hoping for long-term transformation, if you want to apply this knowledge in the long game of life, meaning it's going to increase in dividends and compound benefits over time, you're going to have to put some skin in the game. And that means that I have to as well, because it's an agreement, it's a value exchange. So purchasing the program of Leading Edge Creator is about getting the support and being truly seen, not only just not taking this information in as a one-size-fits-all type application, because it never works that way for any of us, but being able to be seen through your very own individualistic energetic signature, and me helping you apply this knowledge where you are at, not where the group is at, where you are at. And I'm very adept at doing that as well. And so that's why it requires a commitment of your time and energy. That's why, how we have commensurate value exchanges for value, it's translated through money. So it's an investment, but it's an investment that I think is an incredible value for what you get. But it's something, when you consider that it pays out in dividends and benefits over time, it compounds in its luminosity in your life over time, because you'll keep applying these things. It's not like you finish this course and you're just done. It's a way of life. It is a lifestyle change. It is a commitment to long-term transformation that will take you to the very end of this life, if you keep applying it and working with these principles and keep working with this beautiful synchronous energy of the universe instead of trying to work against it. And so when I share this, it's in the spirit of seeding the garden. And when I talk about the garden, I'm talking about the field of infinite intelligence. I'm talking about the field of one. We've talked about the plasmic field in here. We've talked about ether. You can go back to day one where we talked about that stuff in here. But what I'm really talking about is if I live in a place of prosperity, I'm living with the full bloom and the blossoms, the gifts of all of my labors of putting this work together every day, of living in alignment with these principles, these premises that I'm sharing with you. It's a foregone conclusion I'm going to be living in a place of abundance and prosperity. And that if I continue to do it and I continue to be persistent with it, it's going to pay out in ways where I am living in the energy of more than enough or overflow. And so when that happens, I have more than enough to share. I'm really living out this premise in my everyday reality of my prosperity prospers others. And here's the thing, I'm not even talking about financial abundance. That's part of it, but it's only a small part of it, really. Because when we talk about the law of increase, okay, the law of incremental increase, when I do this work, whether you're experiencing this for free, you're still getting the best of me sharing this knowledge and wisdom with this premise of leaving everyone with the impression of increase. This is incredibly important. To me, there is no true success without this. To me, what other people would call being successful or having success is shallow and vapid without this premise in place. And that is that if by your very presence in someone else's life, what you might share with them in a day, a piece of knowledge you might impart, a compliment that you pay forward to someone else, you're paying anything forward in terms of a kindness that comes from the heart of you without even a desire to get anything back. Yes, do I want you to join Leading Edge Creator Program? Absolutely, but that's because I know what an incredible benefit that is. That's because I know how powerful this work is and how transformative it is and how it changes your life forever. And I want that for all women. But even if none of you decide to go ahead and purchase that program, you're still getting the best of this knowledge. I mean, does anyone here get the impression that I'm holding things back? Yeah, I'm going to talk about things in more depth in the program, but that's because I want to keep these calls short. And that's because I want you to get an idea of what we're really talking about here, to get you in the vibe of what this information is. But in terms of holding things back, I'm doing none of that. I'm doing none of that. And it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it does matter a little bit, but I don't care. And it really doesn't matter to me whether you go on into Leading Edge Creator or not. Like, I'm still going to do this work. I'll still be unaffected in terms of, I know that my work is powerful. I know that this stuff is transformative. I know the kind of support and value that I give when I teach and I share and I mentor. That will remain unchanged. Whether 10, 15, 30 of you sign up or whether 3 of you sign up. Those external circumstances will not affect what I know to be true. But I know to be true that if I can leave all of you with the essence of, just by being in my presence, just by spending this time together over 21 days, I am leaving you with a powerful impression, an imprint on your consciousness of increase. Yes. Powerful, right? And here's the thing. Here's why it's not about money. Because you can have a negative bank account. You can have a negative bank account. You can have no money in your pockets. You can pull your pockets out and maybe get a penny or two. You have nothing on you, nothing at all. But you still have the ability to pay forward some level of kindness, impart some level of knowledge or wisdom, something you know that someone else doesn't know and could use that knowledge to better themselves or their plight. You have some ability to pay something forward at any given time. You have some kindness to offer, in other words. It doesn't matter if it's a compliment, a life skill. You can be, oh, you know what? I used to be a plumber. You having problems with your sink? Just do this. You're leaving someone with the impression of increase. Does this make sense? This is a powerful shift. Through the clear, pure tone of your voice, I can feel that you are not holding anything back. Thank you, Jante. Having been in your paid programs, I can say from experience that you're holding nothing back in this forum. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. I'm so with you, because when my field is amplified, it ripples out to everyone else. That's it. That's exactly it. And it doesn't stop with just one person. Do you think that if today, right after this call, you went out and you observed someone having a bad day, and believe me, there's plenty of opportunities to observe someone having a bad day, and you decided to drop all ego, drop all pretense, drop any kind of judgment of what that person might think about you by just going up to them and saying, hey, you know what? You absolutely are shining and radiant. Just want to let you know that. And then you just go on about your merry way, not looking to receive anything in return, not even a thank you, right? What do you think that person is going to be left with in terms of an impression? They might be puzzled at your comment because it's just out of the blue and just kind of off the cuff. Depending on where their mind is at, maybe they'll dismiss it, maybe they won't. Let's just say they don't. And they're like, wow, I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. Whew. Wow, okay, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. That simple human interaction, that moment of gracious kindness, has the power to ripple out 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, because that person is going to feel the effects of that and maybe do something nice. It could be holding the door open for someone when they're going into the supermarket, if you need to hold open a door anymore. I think they're all sliding doors at this point, but it could be anything, right? Helping someone who's elderly or having a hard time. Maybe they just broke their foot and they need to cross the street and you want to help them. It's a short light. You've walked that crosswalk and pathway many times, and maybe it's a short light and you want to help them get across swiftly. It could be anything. It doesn't matter. That person's going to feel that kindness and they're going to want to pay it forward, and they're going to want to pay it forward. Never underestimate this one spiritual law, the law of incremental increase. And the increments that pay out over time, they compound over time. It was a great course, definitely worthwhile. I was just thinking this morning how it has helped me. That's wonderful, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you received the email I sent. If not, I'll send that to your messenger, Sarah. Yes, it compounds in its luminosity. I can attest to this. Big-hearted oddballs. and I mean that in the best way. You know, people who can maintain big-heartedness in what often feels like a cold and contracted and kind of cruel world. You're my people. You're my people, and you know who you are. 666 calorie crusher on the treadmill. You get it, girl. So does this make sense? And so when I talk about seeding the garden, I'm talking about when we are working in powerful synchrony with the spiritual laws, where we are taking what seem like nebulous and esoteric, wisdom and concepts, but you learn in a very tangible way to apply them to your everyday life. And you're living by those premises. You're living in conjunction with those laws. There's this beautiful harmony that takes hold, and it really feels like you are living in that you're living right in the center of that web of love that is the field of infinite intelligence. And not only are you receiving the benefits of it, you're a benefactor of it, but you're also a powerful creator in it. And you are creating from a sense of love. You're creating from a sense of kindness. You're creating from a sense of, not only am I going to get my needs met, that it's a foregone conclusion that if I'm getting my needs met, I'm also seeding the field of one. I'm seeding the garden. And my guides, the way they show it to me, they always show it to me in terms of a garden. Maybe some of you remember a while back when I started posting about Leading Edge Creator, before I started teaching it the first time, I had a lot of pictures of the community garden. And if you've ever been a participant in a community garden, it's this wonderful feeling of like, oh my God, I was brilliant at planting all this chard. I'm like the chard whisperer. So I planted all this Swiss chard, And I love it and I can use it and I'll use it, whatever, and I can freeze it, but it's way more than I can use. And you know what? I had a really hard time growing these green beans. They just didn't work out, or, an insect got a hold of the bean arches I was making and it didn't work out. And I'd really love some beans. You have these beautiful scarlet runner beans and you have a plethora of them. How about we switch? How about we swap? You have more than enough of what you need. I have more than enough of what I need. We can pay it forward to each other. Right? It's this kind of value exchange. And it goes on and on and on and on. It doesn't stop. It's infinite. It's eternal. And even when we have these low moments, even when we're in the ebb versus the flow, that's especially the time where you want to remember that you are a benefactor as much as a contributor. And where you have been the benefactor before, maybe now it's your turn to stretch a little bit. Stretch a little bit. And when you do that, when we tend to go in those ebb times and we become, the MC of our own pity parties, right? And when we're in that space, it becomes all about me, right? We become very insular. We see all the things that aren't working out. We have that negative cognitive bias that I talked about yesterday, that you have tools now to turn around. Be a collector of wins, right? Be a collector of wins. Turn that negative bias into a positive bias. That's when you say, okay, I need to turn the attention to something else or someone else. And even when I was going through my dark night of the soul, spiritual rock bottom experience, dark night of the soul doesn't cover it, but the spiritual rock bottom, I was still teaching. I was actively teaching, I think 2 courses at the time, 2, maybe 3. And a lot of, I don't think any of the women knew what I was going through. It's not like I was wearing my heart on my sleeve. I have a lot of Capricorn energy. I'm a manifesting generator. I live with duplicity and complexity. That's my life. But, I was teaching and I was sharing and I was still doing my work, and none of that was diminished because I knew that even though I was having this pity party for myself that was a very protracted period, that if I could make it less about me in that time, then I was following in this principle of the law of increase and leaving everyone with the impression of increase. And when I was doing that and I was seeing the fruits of what I had to share, the wisdom I had to impart, and how that was positively affecting people's lives, then I felt nourished again. I felt restored to some wholeness again. My doubt was removed. I felt less self-isolated. I felt that bigness and being part of a community again, instead of being, someone who was kind of, operating in the fringes, which I'm very happy to do. But there's a difference between operating in the fringes and doing it from a place of empowerment and needing solace and sanctuary to do your best work, versus doing it because you don't feel like you're allowed to play with the other kids on the playground because you're a disappointment, or you feel bad about yourself, or you can't forgive yourself, or whatever. That's different, right? So does this conversation leave you with the impression of increase right here? Does it leave you with the sense of what seeding the garden means? And it's not just about having financial prosperity, something tangible in that sense, having a lot of money in your bank account and being able to pay it forward. That is one part of it. And it's wonderful to be in a place of financial abundance where my business is a powerful funnel for financial abundance, where I can contribute to the things financially that I really care about, the things I want to shift. And remember, in this world of overwhelm, when we're looking at the world and we see all the things that need fixing, you're not responsible for fixing everything in the world. Pick 1 or 2 things that you're really passionate about, that you care about, that you can make a passion project, and maybe even, make a stand on once in a while from, an activist point of view. And talk about that, bring awareness to it. But you don't have to do all the things. You're not here to fix all the things. None of us are. But your contribution doesn't always have to be financial. Your contribution can be, all right, I know that if I'm operating with the law of increase, that I can leave someone with the powerful impression of increase. That means I'm going to give myself over in this moment to something higher than my ego dread. to something bigger and greater than my existential dread that I'm feeling in this moment, of feeling like a disappointment, or feeling like I'm never getting anything right, or I can't ever get ahead, or whatever. The second you take that focus off of you and you pay some kindness forward, a compliment, engage with someone really from your heart. My fellow big-hearted oddballs, we all have this ability. We just, we don't always exhibit it because we worry about how people are going to judge us or think about us. Fuck that. I say fuck that. I will randomly stop people when I'm out and just be like, wow, that color on you just makes your face just glow and shine. And I did that to a woman just last week. And she was like startled because obviously she was in like some kind of personal reverie. She was thinking about something. She was in the supermarket, and she just was kind of startled, and she looked at me and she's like, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know whether I should put this on today or not. And I was like, no, I'm going to wear some bold colors, and thank you. And that just, who knows what that did with the rest of her day. That's not my business. But I had that moment, that jolt of like, I need to tell this woman that. And so I did, and I acted on it. I don't care too much anymore if people think I'm an oddball. I know I am. I embrace it. It's my gift. I love being a weirdo legacy breaker and a maverick and a philosopher and all the things, and being multi-passionate. And I have little to no fear at this point in my life about what people are thinking about me. And if I'm coming from the heart, I know I'm solid. You too. So there we go. Looking forward to the Lotus Throne activations. Yes, they're so wonderful. They're so wonderful. Get ready to go on a ride. So there's our talk for today. I hope that this will take you into the rest of your day with not only the inspiration to leave someone with the impression of increase, to seed the garden in whatever way is available to you. And we all have a level of kindness available to us. That's the very base foundation common denominator that's available to all of us at any time, anywhere. But will you use it? Will you seed the garden? Yes? Yesterday I told a girl that I really dug her pants, and then the cashier seconded it and said, yeah, those are great. She responded, while everybody's being so nice and to me today, I walked out of that Dollar Tree with my heart glowing with love and gratitude. See how easy it is? It's that easy. And we forget, we as humans, we're really good at making things complicated. Simple and elegant, simple and elegant, simple and elegant for the win every time. So tomorrow we're going to talk about something that's very powerful. The subconscious knows only you. A lot of people don't realize this, that there is no other in terms of what the subconscious is concerned with. There is only you. It has no idea of anything outside of itself. And when you consider that the subconscious is 95% responsible for your everyday behavior and the paradigm of you as a whole, then this concept becomes really juicy and interesting. So we'll see you tomorrow for day 16, I think. And the subconscious knows only you. Thanks, everyone. I was so glad to have you here with me today. See you tomorrow.